How's everyone doing? It's eye test time, Monday evening, and we're joined by Stefan today. You joined the panel of the eye test, and we don't often have people coming on. Pat used to come on, but not many people come on. But after I've been checking you out, man, you are more than qualified, especially after you've done a watch. Did you do a watch long, Stefan, for the game? I haven't seen the game for the game. Yeah, guys are definitely more qualified.
I had the misfortune of watching the match.
Oh God.
I wish I didn't, but I did.
Can I just say, I mean, obviously, as we're fans of Man United, I ain't seen the game to say how poor it was, or whatever. But there's been a lot of crying about the game, even though we've this is the first loss this year, since the start of the year, and a lot of channels saying Ten Hag out and this is it now. You know, he's done. I don't know, man. I don't know, but obviously, you guys watch the game, you'd have be more qualified to talk about whether Ten Hag is finished, or because really, truly, we didn't see this coming. We done a preview beforehand, and we were all saying Fulham's away form. We're on a roll. We need to win the game, and we should win the game. I didn't see us losing. I'm really shocked.
Yeah. Right. OMONDI, you haven't seen the game. We were pretty dreadful, right? It's not the time to be sort of talking about how great the manager and things is. But what we're doing tonight is we're just focusing on United in possession and patterns of play. So I don't want you getting too gassed up about when you see some stuff from the game and things like that. We lost to a team we should have beat. And I'm really worried that this is going to excite you, some of the things that we're looking at tonight, and it's just not the time. So, shall I do some comments, or Stefan, do you want to introduce yourself? I think everyone knows who you are, though.
Yeah, I think most people know who I am, but I'm very happy to be here with you guys tonight. Looking forward to a debut, I guess, on the eye test, and yeah, let's get going.
Yeah, Stefan is a bit of a tactico, which we haven't had before. So there's going to be lots of words that I don't know being used. So we're going to ask Stefan to define everything.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
We'll see. All right, first up, we've got the dear departed Solo, bigging everyone up. Straight away, he's saying Ten Hag is out of his depth at United. We've got Jeff Vesco in the house, and we hope you're feeling better, Jeff. You've had some tough luck recently. And we got DK Wilson all the way from Nevada from this evening. DK Wilson, you know what I'd like to see Darius and Monday do? A breakdown at the Ether Ajax versus United. Not a chance. DK Wilson, I'm sorry, I'm not watching Ajax clips. I do actually have something from Ajax, though, this evening to show you. And we got Matty Bassi in the house saying hello to everyone, and we hope you're fine. It's Andrew. Evening all. Ready for 1 hour of Darius trying to use animations to justify the fact that Omari Forsum was the best player on the pitch on Saturday. Not quite, Andrew, but also not too far away. He will also utilise his platform to have digs at least one small club and Mainu or Varane. Neither of those are on the agenda tonight, but I'm sure I can fit them in for you, Andrew. Look, you're getting a lot of love here from DK Wilson, Stefan.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
And Bart is shouting you out as one of the few Man United YouTubers not to have blocked him yet.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. When I figured out he's gone. I'm joking.
What a surprise. OMONDI defended them. I know. Here's just an update on what's wrong with Jeff. It sounds absolutely dreadful, but I suspect we'll see him back in action before Malacia. No positives this weekend. It's Mr. B. Hello, Mr. B. And have we got anyone else in here? We got Rajat. None of them for me. Do you have a Bundesliga team, Stefan?
Not really. I mean, I've liked watching Leverkusen this season, but that's about it, really. I wouldn't say I'm
Do you watch the full matches?
I heard. Very rarely. I found myself watching Inter Milan quite a few times this season, but that's about it. Usually because they're on a Sunday night pretty late and there's nothing else on. But
Amonde, are you a huge fan of the Bundesliga?
Yeah, I like all kind of football. If it's on, I try to watch it. I've been watching Dortmund. I've always liked Dortmund for some reason. I think they play a good brand of football, and the RB group as well. They play nice football as well. And I think it's not too far behind our league. The fans are fantastic. They got a high average gate than the Premiership for fans, which is magnificent. And I think it's a good brand of football. It's enjoyable to watch. Most of the games are competitive, so I do like the Bundesliga.
And we got Steph in the house, bigging us all up, and obviously she's doing her like check, which I love the fact that Stephanie comes in and does this. It's really nice because I always feel like a bit of a so-and-so asking people to like the video when they're giving up their time. But right, anyway, boys, tonight is about patterns of play. So I think, first of all, start off with you guys in chat and on the panel. Have you seen any patterns of play from United consistently? Stefan, you're our guest.
Yep. I think this might be like a slightly controversial take, but I do see patterns of play. I don't think they're necessarily good patterns, but there is there is repeated patterns that we do see, and they do tend to cause us issues. Obviously, you've spoke a lot about spacing, rest, defense all season long, but we do see repeated patterns, and there was actually a pretty good pattern I did see that someone else had flagged on Twitter, and one of that was just a lot of it. We seem to build up, through the wide areas. Rather than going centrally, that does seem to be one. I guess if you want to look at a patterned goal like we scored recently, if you look at Hoyland's goal against Wolves, that came from a pattern of play. But the good patterns are fairly irregular. The bad patterns seem to happen practically every match. And it's definitely an issue. And I think it was Monday Night Football tonight as well flagged up an issue when we're building up with that rest defense of like a 2-1 and then a 7, because our entire team is on an offensive line. There's no way we can actually play the ball into those players without taking a risk, losing the ball. So those are all patterns in the sense that they happen regularly and they happen over and over again, but they're not constructive or positive for us.
All right, well said. Amonde, you're about to tell us that we got the best patterns of play since Brazil 1970.
I had an argument earlier on a stream with somebody, an argument, but I just want to read out Ten Hag's philosophy. He said, I want...
Have you brought a manifesto?
I've got my book of notes here, And,
like Naz, book of rhymes.
Because I was trying to make a case for Ten Hag. First of all, I will say this. People want to see identity, a pattern of play or things like that. We've had 36 games this season and 34 different lineups. So there's been a lot of injuries, which has affected our development this season. Granted, if you look at the league table, look at our start to the season, that suggests it. So I think there is a correlation between the injuries we've had and our performances. So to see a pattern of play, you have to have regular games with the same players necessarily, top players who can come in and continually do that job. I believe we haven't been able to see that yet, but I think Ten Hag says here, he said this in December last year, I want to have possession and hurt the opponent. It's about possession, about movement, about vertical attacking patterns, and about pressing, wingers moving into the middle to make room for the fullbacks. Everyone is attacking, everyone is defending. So that's what he wants to achieve. That's in theory, but in practice, I don't think we've seen enough of it. I do think that we see maybe crosses from the half space, or like the goal that Steph was talking about from Holland. I think we want to see kind of cutbacks in the area. I just think it's not clicking yet with what we're seeing. We're not seeing consistency, and that suggests with our results, we see that, and with the lack of consistency with the starting 11. Like I said, 36 games this season, 34 different lineups. It's a disappointment. And our main striker now, who has got a hot streak, is out. Our left back is out, and it's hard to be coming in. Left back saying this someone's going to be important to the game. Him and Rashford maybe linking up, or what we've seen before in the past. he's out. So is Lindelof going to do the same job? No, that stops a pattern of play, for example. So I do think we're finding it hard to develop our game or see any development as fans. That's why everyone's uproar right now. But we have to also consider that we don't have regular, consistent players playing week in, week out.
I get the impression, Armando, that you feel you're fighting a corner tonight, which isn't the aim.
No. I'll tell you the truth. I had an hour stream with someone who's saying Ten Hag out before we had a discussion about it. And that's why I was just making some notes and looking at it. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's looking like quite bad for him. But I can't hide the fact. That he's had a lot of injuries. And even this week against Fulham, we got like left back out and Martinez is out. Mount's not in the side. We've had Ericsson out. We've had the young boy Kobe out. Haaland's out now. You know, there's so many injuries going on. So I do have a bit of sympathy for the manager when you want to be performing well. When you're on a big stage like this and results matter, you haven't got the players. It's only Brentford, Newcastle, Chelsea, and us and Brighton who have had as much injuries as us this season. And all these teams, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, Brentford, and us, are not performing as we should be. None of them teams are doing as well as last season. And the main factor is they've all had injuries. It's all there. So, I don't know. It's not looking good.
All right. Well, we'll have a look at some comments before we get into some theories. First up, we got Mr. B saying, can't defend him, Amondi. We are finished if he stays. Mr. B, you Eric out. Matty Bassett is Ten Hag out now. And Andrew says, Mr. B went from Eric in to a blood feud to anyone who wants him to stay in 2 hours, which is true. And Mr. B says, look, I thought the feeling would pass over the weekend, but it hasn't, mate. Amonde, you have to question some of his decisions and how those decisions are going to affect the team. We've got Subvids, the creator of our excellent intro featuring me taking a corner. We need the new structures above ETH settled before any managerial change. And Matty Bassett is still okay. Good. He's still Eric out after that abomination against Fulham. I can't defend the indefensible anymore. All right. So, Amonde, please don't wind the comments up by being incredibly pro Ten Hag on a game that you haven't seen. All right. So this is what's on the menu tonight. This is like a kind of trial. We're going to see if Eric Ten Hag has patterns of play. So does he have them? What are they? And what's needed? Because Stefan was talking about patterns of play don't necessarily mean good football. Sometimes it can just be suicidal. All right. So we're going to start off with a quote from Juanma, who's the Man City assistant manager and is a very influential coach. And basically what he says with positional football, which is the style of football we try and play, we're looking for superiority from a position. What use is good play in between the lines if you do not take out opponents. And he also says, in respect to spacing issues, if you haven't travelled together as a team with the ball, you can't rob it back when you lose it. If you're too far away when you've lost it, then you can't go and press the opponent. If you're not together, connecting with the passes, you can't win it back immediately. That's talking about compactness, isn't it, Amonde?
I really like that. I've heard that recently. I was watching a podcast earlier about a coach. Someone's talking about football, and he said something similar like that. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I just watched a 3-minute highlight of Fulham game, and Iwobi was just running through the midfield. Maybe they turned over the ball, and the players were out of position, and Casemiro was out, and poor Mainu was trying to track back. So, yeah, I do think you'd have to have numbers there a lot of the time. I was watching Inter Miami, for example, Busquets, Alba, Messi, and your Redondo's son. And they didn't have any rest defense. The poor back four were just on their own against LA Galaxy the other day. So it's really important systems in football.
Redondo's playing in the same team as Busquets. They're starting together.
He didn't, but he's in the team. I'm saying he's plays for Inter Milan.
Yeah, he's in the squad, isn't it?
Yeah, he didn't play the other day.
Right, Stefan, do you know anything about Juanma? He's someone we bring up a lot on the show.
Yeah, I know a little bit. Like, I know he's never really had too big a job in terms of actual like managerial experience. Obviously influential off the pitch, big in terms of his coaching stuff. And yeah, look, I have to agree totally with what the quotes up there are saying as well. You cannot half a team press and the other half don't press. And I think that's an issue we've had recently. Is the forward line, they want to press, the back line retreat when they see any kind of danger, and that leaves poor Casemiro or Manu stuck in the middle with about 40 or 50 yards around him and about 3 players trying to deal with it all at once. It's just impossible to deal with. So you either press as one, you defend as one, and I think that's what you have to do. I'm not quite sure who came up with the quote, but they said the striker is the first defender and the goalkeeper is the first attacker. And I think that is what we have to be looking at trying to get out of this team.
I mean, our goalkeeper definitely isn't a goalkeeper first. That's for sure. We got Stephanie. I'm probably going to call you Stephanie at some point, Stefan, and Stephanie, Stefan.
This is
all very confusing. Let me move you up here so people can see. We have no one that can carry the ball comfortably, and our passing as a team is atrocious. Steph, this is a brilliant comment, and we're going to get onto it like almost immediately. And Andrew is coming in with another good comment saying our ability to keep hold of possession is beyond poor. Right. How do you keep hold of possession, and how do you train positional football? This is a drill which is called 3x3 + 2. I've done this drill since I was 19 until I was about 28, at least 3 times a week. It is the most important drill for playing this kind of football. OMONDI, I don't know if have you done this drill?
Run me through it. Let me see. I'm not too familiar with the graphics.
All right, yeah. Okay, so it's called 3v3 + 2. The +2 are normally staff members or coaches, and they will be the black 1 and 2 in this. Then it's 3v3, which is reds versus yellows. And it's normally 1 or 2 touch on a very, very small pitch. Like, you know, you get the cones and you play like 15 by 15 or 10 by 10. It's like it's a brilliant drill. Lots of running. The yellow team have got to get the ball, and the blue team have got to keep it. So if you look at the first panel, we've got the black 1 on the ball. He passes it out to number 1, and number 2 has to make that movement to get the ball, right? And then depending on the last one, depending on where the ball goes. So if 2 plays to 1 or 2 plays to 2, the 3's either got to get out wide to support the 1 or get back to support the 2. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Would you like to see it in action?
Yes.
So this is the drill. All right, I'll just play it one more time. This is actually from the Ajax under-13s when Ten Hag was the coach, and this is a 5 versus 3. So you can see that the reds are 5 and the yellows are 3. And does that work? That does work. Players have got to move and support each other. Okay, so does everyone understand what this drill is? Yeah. Stefan, have you ever done anything like this?
Personally, in terms of my fairly brief playing career, no, because I was mostly in goals. But I can get what the principles of this are. Of course, it's just opening up the passing lanes. Obviously, when the black passes into number 1, then with the dropping of number 2, he's got the option to play it back. He can play it inside. It's about just working the space. It's about trying to get it, because you can't just float the ball over to number 3, I think it is, as inviting as it is, because by the time the ball gets there, he's closed down. that's potentially losing the ball. So it's just about keeping possession in that sense.
So actually, that's an unfair question. Right. The key aims of this drill is that passing beats pressure, right? Not half turns, not dribbling, not feints. It's passing that gets you through a press, because you're always going to have a +1 advantage at the back. When you dribble or you carry the ball, what you're actually doing is you're creating space for other people, because you're eating up that space. It's the passing that beats pressure. And what you have to do is you have to move relative to your teammates, and you have to create angles. But the most important thing about this drill is that it gives you something that I call tactical empathy, which is that you can see the body shape. If I go back here, when number 2 is on the ball, number 3 has to make his mind up almost before the pass is played if he's going to go and support the 1 or support the 2. And he does that based on looking at the angle the player has received the ball, his body shape, where the pressure is coming from. And in like the second picture, like number 2 has to make that run in order to get behind and between for the 1 to get the ball. And as the 2 makes that run, the 3's already got has to reposition himself. Okay, so this is the basics of rotational play, and it teaches you so much beyond just running and passing. It is, if anyone does any kind of five-a-side or any kind of organized football, see if you can get your boys to do this drill, because you will be amazed how tough this is when you first start off. And just to go back, these are 13-year-olds that are doing this. And look at them moving, dropping, like the little, you see that little 4-year-old in the middle? See the one who's got 3 around him? Just watch him. Look at him pointing. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, that drill. I'm just going to check some comments before I go on. But that drill is the foundation of everything that Erik ten Hag is doing. Do you see anything there, Omondi, that you liked?
Yeah, no, just explained. I've done similar stuff like that before, and it is like the guy in the middle. He didn't move that much, as in he wasn't sprinting around. You know, like when you do those drills where you have to chase the ball or that kind of thing. He wasn't sprinting around too much. He was using his brain, and just sometimes I say just all it takes is like a little 2 yards to the side, 2 yards to this side. It's not like sprinting. You just have to use your brain. Shuffle 2 yards to receive the balls, create a passing angle for your opponent, you know, and that's all you need to do sometimes. So that kind of intelligence, if you get that into a player young, like doing here, these are academy kids. They're they're very good players. But even at any level, if you can get that understanding into the game, and you can make life easy for yourselves, you know, and then keep the ball. But I think people panic on the ball if they don't see an option straight away. That's why you have to point to where you want it. Communication. You have to trust in each other, in your teammates as well. That's another issue. There's always issues within players. I don't want to pass to him. I don't trust him enough, or I will pass to him, you know. And like we've seen Inter Miami, I watched the game. They're passing to Messi all the time, always looking for him. What about the other players? You know, Messi should say, "All right, I'm occupied. Pass to someone else. Trust someone else." And that sort of thing. So I think that's a really good drill, and I think it's just teaching the basics of the game and understanding. And partly understand what I want to emphasize. What's really important to me, what happened at the weekend. You don't have to be sprinting all the time. You can just make a little shuffle, 2 yards to receive the ball, to create an angle to receive the ball. It's really as easy as that. And some people don't realize that.
Well, sometimes you do have to sprint in order to do it. This is one of the reasons I'm a big fan of Below, because if we look at like this, like if he is the number 3 on the far right, Delo makes this long bursting run 6 or 7 times a match in order to support Varane. And the key thing here, excuse me, the key thing here is your teammates have to support you. Get at that 45-degree angle, play on diags, be aware of like where the next pass is going. Like Stefan, is there anything you'd like to add to this drill?
No, I think when you put it into and relate it to what we actually see from Manchester United, I think that is very applicable. Dalot does make that run backwards, constantly offering himself as that option. And there was sometimes at the weekend, we saw the importance of playing those 45-degree balls and those diagonal balls. Because there was also times at the weekend we were playing 90-degree passes flat across the middle of the pitch. They got intercepted. That led to more transitions. Those are the kind of passes you do not want to be. But I think when you do relate it to United, you will appreciate what Dalot does in that sense, the way he's constantly offering himself up to Varane for that pass out. And it's one of the only positive bit of build up from the back that we do see on a regular basis. But yeah, I think Dalot's role in that is definitely criminally underrated.
Thank you. And I'd just like to wish a hello to Vincent Bullock. Vincent, our guest at the top, Stefan runs a United channel that I'm sure you would love to go and contribute to. Okay, so right, we're now going to talk about rotations and movements. Like, I have got loads of clips, loads of animations. We just have to go through a bit of theory so that everyone is on the same, on the same page before we get through it. You know what these are like. And Matty Bassett is updating us with a score prediction, which is wild. 4-1. All right. First of all, the difference between rotations and movements. Rotations are coordinated, so it involves players, and normally it will involve either switching a zone or an area and switching responsibilities. So if you think of a fullback inverting to play in the pivot, they're in a completely different zone and they've got completely different responsibilities. Yeah, everyone happy with that? Movements are basically just runs. Okay, they're not. They're independent of what other people are doing, and normally you run from one zone to another. Yeah. Monday?
Yep. Sorry, yeah.
Yep.
Go on.
Yeah, just checking. Okay, so this is.
I'm still here. Hi.
Yeah. And just some. This is just going to be the types of rotation that we can have, and these are things that we're going to be looking for United players to be doing in the clips and animations that we have. So positional is multiple players swapped to new positions. This could, for example, be a fullback going inside. Like, let's say, Alexander Trent, and a midfielder moving into a wide area. Okay. Spatial, this is a pretty easy one. This is a 9 coming deep and a 10 running beyond. Right. So they've swapped zones, and multiple players swapping roles is just a Salida Volpiana, like a CDM dropping in to make a back three, and the fullbacks getting into the wide areas. So they're more like their job is to provide width and attack rather than like defend, as it were. Okay, Stefan, happy with all of that?
Yep, absolutely.
Anything to add?
No, I think those are the main types of rotations you would see, and I think just when you're describing them like that, it's very easy to visualize even what it should look like. Obviously, the roles with the multiple swaps, you will see that occasionally with United, maybe not enough sometimes, but you will see Casemiro drop a little bit deeper. Centre back spread out, full backs push on, gives you extra width. We know all about the spatial stuff. We see Dalot invert quite often into the middle of the pitch. Very important that he does that and offers up that option for a pass. And then, it's all things that we do see at United. I don't think we lack for rotations. It's just, are they always in our best interest, or sometimes the players find themselves in the wrong patterns? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, this goes back to the quote from Juanma. What use is good play between the lines if it does not take out our opponents? There needs to be a reason that you're doing these rotations. All right. So I think that's a really good point. Omonde, you're about to spit some wisdom at us.
Yeah, it's true. It comes from total football, which is about rotation of players and being playing in various positions. And the Dutch are able to do it. And as you mentioned the other day, with their strategy, they get attacking players or good technical players from young who can play in different positions and get them playing anywhere. Dennis Bergkamp used to be a right winger. Cruyff's probably played, DM or left wing or striker. He played various positions. 2-footed, good technically. All the 74 Dutch side of the 3 times Champions League winners in the early 70s, they all could play that style of football and be comfortable. When we look at today's game about playing in different positions and these inverted roles, it's still not perfect. I think there was a criticism of Trent the other day saying, yeah, he's a good right back, but when he goes into midfield, he maybe can't get into the midfield at the moment because in tight areas, he struggles. He likes to have space in front of him, so coming deep, so he can spray balls and that. But if you give him the ball with his back to goal, just outside the box, is he going to do anything that effective? As good as he is, So, and I do agree. He's got his strengths and he's also got some weaknesses. So, when you talk about players rotating, if you find yourself in a position where you're not comfortable, it's good. A real pro player should be able to learn to be comfortable in all positions. Don't say, "Oh, I'm not good receiving the ball in this area." You should be able to do that. If football,
well, certainly a United player, like exactly. maybe not at Cheltenham. No, so Andrew, there you go. That's my dig at a lower league club. But sort of a top club, as Man United aspire to be now, you would expect a fullback to be perfectly capable inside, outside. And speaking of people inside, Vincent had a few people messaging him because they saw him on the telly in the 66th minute of the game. I always actually have a look out for Vincent when I know the ball is in the area of the ground that he's in, but I'm yet to spot him. Andrew is asking about the press conference. Is he Baghdad Bob? I said it was Chemical Ali. He'd reminded me of, just completely disjointed from reality. And I've got a question from DK Wilson that I'm answering it very, very shortly. But with an example, so it hopes you help. I hope I'm not boring you in the comments. Normally we get more questions, but if you're happy chatting amongst yourselves, carry on. Don't worry about us. And I've just put some types of movement up here. Overlaps, underlaps, dropping in, pulling away. I couldn't think of any more. Omondi, is there any other type of movement that you can do uncoordinated?
Same thing, dropping in, pulling away, spinning off, double fake movements.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have double movements, can't you? Where you pull in and then you spin out and stuff. But they're all basically the same thing. They're uncoordinated, and normally they're to create space. It's a key thing with the movements, about creating space. Good one, Andrew. I quite like this. That's one of your best ever. Stefan, have you got anything to add on movement?
No, I think that's a pretty pretty conclusive list there. Obviously, as Omondi said, you can have an out to in, or you can kind of just spin off it a little bit. But for the most part, that's your primary movements. You will see time and time again in most matches, regardless of level.
Yeah. Right, DK Wilson. I've got a question for you, which is, you were talking about how is movement separate from zones. I'm hoping this answers it. So I've got the inverted fullback here, the number 3, making 2 different runs. One is blue, one is black. Stefan, we'll start with you. Which run do you think is harder for a team to defend, and why?
I suppose it's all pretty subjective as well. Obviously, it depends upon who the fullback is. If we want to go into that, their kind of avenue with it, but primarily, if you're looking at it in the sense that, am I assuming that the fullback's got the ball here, or he's making the run?
Just making the run.
So say for talk's sake, number 10 has the ball there, then the inside run into the channel there is pretty beneficial, because then he's got 2 passes he can pick from. He can go wide outside to number 11, or he can play it into the channel to receive for number 3, and then
that's attacking. What about defending? Which run as a defender do you not want him to make?
Oh, so sorry. Apologies. I was just misreading that wrong. I haven't got my glasses on, obviously. I do have them about here. I know it is the eye test, but I guess, look, if you're the defensive number 3, I guess the run that you don't want to see is that run into the channel. It's into the space between the
that's blue.
centre back and yourself. Yeah, I think the blue run for me would be the one of concern, because that's what I guess it's kind of like a corridor of uncertainty, really, and the space in between that can be awkward as well. Does the fullback go with the outside winger? Does he come inside and try to block that run? Obviously, that's how you kind of create the space with those types of runs.
Okay, OMONDI?
Yeah, I agree. For me, as a defender myself, you don't want that number 3 running in between in that channel between the fullback and number 5, the number 3 and 5. It's going to cause a lot of problems. It's going to break you up. You could say, like we said, if he went out wide, someone would have to go with him. But I prefer that. Don't let them run through the middle. If you run through the middle, it's pure danger. And it just then you got to decide who's picking them up, because he's breaking up your department. This is your thing. This is your back 4. You don't want someone breaking into that. You want to see them out wide, away from it, that kind of thing. So if the guy, that number 3, runs in between the 5 and the 3 into that channel there, it's first of all is like I would want the 3 to come on the inside of him and make sure he's on the outside of my defensive unit, and then obviously keep him away from goal. So I think that the most dangerous run for me would be the one down the middle through the channel.
I disagree, because I'm a midfielder, and both of you have looked at this from a defender's perspective. When you look at the black line, how many zones does it cross?
1, 2, 3.
How many does the blue line cross?
2.
1.
2.
It crosses one line.
Oh,
Like,
right.
of the ones that I've marked. So from the midfield's point of view, you've got a player moving through 3 different zones. That means that he has to be passed off 3 different times to 3 different players. That is a hell of a lot harder to defend than one single run, as long as there's not a massive, as long as it's not, big breakfast in the Sunday League defending Haaland or something like that, and he can just outrun him. The straight runs are much easier, in my view, for a team to defend than one that crosses multiple zones.
I would say as a defensive unit, you'd want the guy running into a space on the wide there to be in a wide area where he's less threat.
But who goes with him?
You have to make up your mind. Maybe the fullback, maybe the midfielder, the wide midfielder. But I think if you break the unit by running into the channel, I think it is, for a defender, it would be a nightmare, because suddenly you've got someone to pick up someone, and it opens up space for someone else. If he goes in that area there, then the 10 becomes free, because suddenly you're going to occupy one of the defenders there. But yeah, I'm interested to see go into more detail about why going out wide.
Because of the block, right? It's what you're doing here is you're moving the mid block. So when the 3 goes, normally what you would probably see here is the 8 moving across, then handing him off to the 7, and then the 7 and the 3 get into a 2v2 situation out there. If the 8 goes with him, you've got a free pass into your 10, and you're in between the lines straight away. If he goes down the middle, the 3 can pick him up. The team can come across, and more importantly, the 9, the 8, the 10, and the 6 can tilt the block so that you're cutting off the left-hand side, and that means you can get more men over to deal with the channel runner. So what you're doing is, when the 3 goes across those zones, you're much more likely to disrupt the block than you are by just running straight down the middle, because it's also harder to find him.
Okay.
Does that sway you?
No. Well, it's interesting.
It's an interesting one.
Very interesting. Yeah. That what it would be. I think there's pros and cons for both, but I'm really interested to hear your point, and it makes sense. But also, for me, I think about level. Obviously, I haven't played this sort of top pro level, so I think that if you do any movement, any kind of action, there's a reaction. So if the 3 does move into that channel area, there's a reaction. It opens up space for someone else, you know. But going out wide, I think as a defensive unit, as I repeat again, if he runs out wide, he's less of a threat there than he is in an area where he's more of a danger in that channel.
All right, we'll get on to that. Stefan, are you still happy that the blue run is the hardest, or have I swayed you?
Joe, I'm kind of feeling pretty 50-50. I think to agree with what Amanda is saying as well. I think the natural inclination for a defensive unit will be to show the man wide. That's one of the basics that we do. And from there, you're looking him to put a cross in. But if he's in that position, he can potentially get shots off. He can be an option in that sense. I know that if he goes wide, that then means that number 3 either has to stay or go. Number 8 has to move. Number 7 has to move. And you're disrupting 3 components off the block with the 1 movement, which will definitely disrupt that mid block as well. If number 3 carries his run on, then obviously there's the option for number 11 to cut inside as well and offer up that kind of route. But I think both are pretty dangerous. I can see both sides of the argument. I just
make a decision.
I'm undecided. I'm undecided. Can I sit in the fence?
Yes, you can sit on the fence.
I'll be a fence sitter for this.
We might come back to this later. But DK Wilson, I hope that answered your comment about zones, because it's about the movement into the zones that's important and the sort of the angle of it and things. But let me know if it isn't. Right. What is the point of all this stuff, right? Rotations are used to get players between the lines facing the goals, most famously with third-man combinations. And runs are made to stretch the spaces between the lines. So if you have a striker like, say, Højlund or Haaland, they're going to make runs in behind that is going to increase the space in between the lines because the player's got to go with them. And you're going to have players out in wide areas to widen the pitch so that there's more space in between the lines. Monde, are you happy with that?
Yep.
So if we look back here, you can see that the 7 and 11 are widening the pitch, and that means that if the ball is in a central area, the block has to be more spread out, and there's more angles to get the ball through the lines. And then the 9 running in behind will push the 4 and the 5 back, giving a bit more space. Okay? Yep. This is all fairly baby stuff so far, I think. Are we all happy with this?
Yep. Very much.
All right. I think what I'm going to show you... Actually, what am I going to do? Do you want to see an animation?
Yes, please. You know I love animations.
Yeah. Go on then.
Okay. Let me just get it up. Right. Stefan, you know what this is, so I want you to remain mum's the word or whatever.
Yes, I will mute myself. Don't worry.
No. You can talk on it, but I'm going to show you a clip. I'm going to show you an animation of a team that were playing in Europe and had a manager for about 2 months when they played this type of football, and it's going to illustrate a couple of things that we talked about. So, Amonde, if you could tell me when my screen is up, because it isn't right now. How do I do this? Share screen. Am I up?
Yep, you're up. Just enlarge. There you go.
Okay. So whites versus blacks. Talk us through this, Amonde.
Okay, so ball's been played centrally to number 3. He plays it wide and moves to the wide areas, dragging the 7 with him. As a bit of rotation there into 9, who peels off and plays back to 6 and into 7 and to 10. They're moving it around, popping it around. Lovely here. Trying to create space and open up for somebody into a tight area there. Use a bit of skill to get away from the defender and goal. So I think there's a lot of movement here from give and go, as you can see, trying to stretch the team. The defending team, as the 9 comes deep to get the ball, plays it home again, trying to look for spaces in tight areas there. 7 goes here, and in a tight area, into his feet, does a little drop shoulder, beats the man, and scores. Don't think that's too impressive for me.
Do you not?
Not as in, well, there had to be individual skill there to beat the defender. I think I would have liked to have seen more movement and creating spacing to open up the blocks, but they tried it with the pass and move. But in the end, looked like a bit of individual talent.
Well, I think there's quite a lot good that's here. Stefan, do you think that this is an overrated goal that I've picked?
No. I think it's a good. It's a good example of the kind of passing move that we have been talking about, and it's a good illustration of those ideas about moving the zones. Obviously, number 11's got a big part to play in this initially, and it's just popping around the central areas. It's players showing, it's players moving. And ultimately, yes, it does come down to a nice bit of skill as well, but it's a really, really well manufactured chance with some clear positive patterns of play.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, right, we've got a player out here, we've got a player out here, and we've got the 2 forwards pinning 4 players, and they've widened the channel, and we've got a nice passing network. You know, we can see triangles everywhere. Blah blah blah. The ball gets played. The 3 makes that run that I like on a diagonal between the, let's just call this the channel. It's not really, but we'll call that the channel. And it opens up space here for the 11 to get into. So the 11 gets into it. And then we see a coordinated movement with the 9 dropping and the 10 going into the space that he's created. The ball gets popped in. This is players supporting each other, right? This is 3v3 times 2 plus 2. Romeo done. We then see the interchange here between the 10 and the 9 again. This 9 is proper good. Look at that, trying to get in that space there. And then 3 players between the lines. That's very, very difficult to pick up. Ball gets played through. Look at this. This is 3 times 3 plus 2 again. And then number 9's movement is great. Pops it in. Lovely little skill and scores. Right? And I think that illustrates quite a lot of positional play. Do you want to know who it was, OMONDI?
What, in world football? Is it?
In world football.
How did you set it up? You said something before about this person.
This is a team playing in Europe that had been coached by their new manager for a month or 2. It was in September.
What, this September, this 23?
No.
All right. I was maybe say Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso, but I don't know.
Oh, that level. All right. Do you want to see who it is?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Do you recognize them boys?
Sancho.
Yes. That's us. That's us a month into Ten Hag's reign.
And what's the opponent there?
Sheriff.
Okay.
You're not impressed by this, OMONDI?
When I see it like that, show me the animate. They're not animation.
No.
Let's have a look at the clip again.
Okay. I can't believe you've done this to me. World-class animation, I feel that.
It's very good, yeah. Who's number 9?
Ronaldo.
Oh, was Ronaldo making the good runs then, you were saying?
Yes. I thought that was a clue that I'd given you. All right. Do you now think this is brilliant?
No, not necessarily. I like the build-up play, and but it's just the opponents. If that was done 2 months into his tenure at Man United, we didn't see it in the Premier League at the highest level. And what I did say initially, my point, and he's surrounded. I would like to see the whole purpose of this is to open things up where you stretch the defence and you play in the spaces that you've created by your rotations that we said earlier. But, yeah, nice bit of possession play in the opponent's half.
Look at what you see on the screen now. You see Eriksen and I don't know who that is. That could be Delo. And then Bruno and Sancho they've made a 4 with a 3 around them, so they're able to play through that line of pressure and get men facing the ball through on goal. And look at Ronaldo's beautiful run at the start. He's in there. That's Martinez, I think, actually. So when you watch it again, like, look, that is right. You can complain all you want about the other stuff, but that combination play is something that we don't see anymore. Yeah. That's really, really impressive to me. I'm just going to go through the comments. I told you so. Do you know what? I knew that Andrew was going to be like this in the stream and was going to be saying that he knew everything. And earlier today, someone actually sent me a picture of Andrew and like what he looks like when he's chatting, like on all these streams. And I have it with me. And look, here he is. He's using his big brain to fly into the future. I bet you were worried then for a second, Andrew, before I showed that. There you are. There's Andrew for you.
Oh, God. Surfer.
Yeah. We've got Dora here. So Martinez missing is an excuse here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Dora. I think you're all right. I think this is great. What happened since then, only they know. So she likes this. I sent this to Dora and Stefan earlier in the week, and they both could not believe what they were seeing. Steph, can't be us. We are passing it about really well. Andrew is now talking about the size of his genitalia. And it's great to see you, Dora. Oh, what? I'm such an idiot, as Mr. B would say. Okay, so what I want to talk about now, Monday, is overloads between the lines. So obviously, as I've said before, you need players to stretch the pitch vertically and horizontally. But what you want is a numerical superiority in a zone, so an area in front of the back line, and players receiving behind and between the midfield block. Are you happy with this?
Yep.
Stefan, do you have anything to say on this? Or
yeah, I think like the one thing that a defense is always really comfortable with, really happy with, is just everything in front of them when they can see it, whenever they can react to it in that sense. So if you're getting in between them, some people are popping up behind, some are in front. The more disorientated you can get them, the better. It's about just creating that confusion, that panic, that concern, and uncertainty is what attacks thrive off, and uncertainty is what can undo nearly any defense.
Yeah, it's a lot of the time it's about whose job is to go and pick that player up, like who's got to take responsibility. Like we've all heard the shout of "get out to them," and like who? Whoops. So this is why you want to play between the lines. Okay, so here you can see we're facing a block on the left. If we get it through that block, everyone behind the ball is out of the game. Right? It's a thing we've talked about a lot before. And you can see that the 2 has probably got to come out and deal with the 8 in this case. And he can play the 7 through, and then the 9 and the 11 can attack. But what you have here is when you get the ball in between the lines, you have a +1 in attack. So that's where the numerical superiority comes from. And it's a key part. And obviously, like when you're defending this situation, emergency defending or even defending, delay, force the ball out wide. Right, that's the key. That's the key thing to do in defensively. Look at this from Andrew. Do not let Dario put you off. His psychobabble grows on you over time. Like, Andrew, you know that I trained this stuff for years. Like it's. Oh. Anyway, okay, so that's taken out players, and now this is the next part. And don't worry, we're nearly finished. Ooh, looks like we got a game on in at West Ham. Oh no, we don't. It's finished.
Yeah.
We're always got the breaking news here. All right. So when we're overloading a zone, we want 2 men between the lines in the same zone. And this disrupts zonal and man marking schemes. So this is what Stefan is talking about panic and chaos and what's going on. There's too many men. It's like you go to a nightclub, there's too many men there. You don't want to be there. You want to go somewhere else. Or you don't. I'm not judging. And this allows several ways to manipulate the block. Okay, when you've overloaded the zone, gives you several ways to manipulate it. And the end goal of this, because remember there always has to be a point, is to get access to a dangerous zone. If that's a half space, zone 14, cut back areas. Yeah. All right. Amonde, you're nodding. You like this?
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Stefan, you happy with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything to add?
I just want to add. Yeah, it's all right. Breaking the zone, breaking the lines, getting players there, get the ball to the players in between the lines. But yeah, I haven't seen it happening enough. And if you do give the ball away, as you said at the beginning with Pep's assistant coach, about doing it as a team. I think if you do give the ball away, the risk is getting the ball played in between the lines and getting it in that area. But if it doesn't happen, those players, as you said earlier, if you break the lines, the players who line you break are out of play. But if you don't break the line, the players that are in between the line are out of the play, and then you've got a problem coming back. So it's very risky. This is why I think Martinez, who's one of them players who usually will play that ball between them, is very crucial to us. And if you haven't got that sort of confidence to play a nice sharp ball into feet that's like that, it's going to be difficult. And
this is why we want left footers in certain positions. That's why it's so important, isn't it?
Yeah,
true.
Right, I have some examples of overloading the zone. I haven't taken them from matches. I just did them. I just made them. So, Stefan, is there anything you want to add to this before I show them?
No, I would just agree with what Amonde was saying there. Obviously, without Martinez, we have players. We don't really have a player in the back line who likes those line breaking passes. Obviously, like you said as well, the importance of left footers cannot be understated. We have 6 or 7 centre backs, and only one's got a left foot. So I think that's a personnel issue there, like maybe more so than a tactical one. In fairness to Erik ten Hag, but yeah. I do think that there is just a lack of line breaking passes in that back line at times, and it can really stifle us trying to build up.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. We're getting there, Dora. You've missed all the boring bit, and we're about to get on to the fun stuff. So I'm just gonna show you 3 quick examples of how you can manipulate the block with overloading a zone. So do this, or do that. Are we up on Monday?
Yep, just enlarge.
Yeah.
All you really need to see is that these 2 players are in the same zone. So that's an overload there. As I say, these are pretty basic. But yeah, okay. So that's one example of how you can use it. This is another one. I'll just take it back for you. As I say, these are really basic. They're just to get the idea.
Third man run.
Yeah, this is where the block has overcommitted.
It's a good pass by 5 there.
Yeah, well, it's an imaginary one.
He's a good player. We should sign him.
Yeah, exactly. these are just really basic examples of it, so that people can visualize it.
You imagine Varane in that position playing that ball.
No, I can't.
No.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is that a half space across, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So it's just an example, like, because here, like, look, the block has had to compensate and they pulled too many people across. So if the 2 jumps, you've got a 3 versus 1 on this player.
Yeah.
And things like that. And that's why you want numerical superiority, because it allows you to do things. But I mean, obviously, there is also a downside to it, where if the ball gets stuck out, you know, the 11 and the 3 have to react really quickly to get back on the 8 and the 7.
Yeah.
And then you've really only got a +1 because you've taken a chance out here. So, you know, it's not all swing. I should press stop sharing. It's not all swings and roundabouts. Okay.
Like I'm saying, it's all about consistency. To do that, you have to be doing it regularly, and we've seen that done against Sheriff last season. We haven't seen it done. You know, we haven't seen patterns of play like that after that often. So we have to have consistency of this going on time and time again against any kind of opposition, and we're not seeing. The fans aren't seeing it for sure. But obviously, with key players out, Martinez maybe is a bigger miss than we actually thought because of the way that Ten Hag wants to play. He wanted Frankie de Jong, someone who could also break the lines, whether by dribbling or by passing, to do that. So I think it's about personnel as well. If you haven't got the right personnel to deliver, then all your tactical system or your so-called identity of playing goes out the window, I think, especially with this thing. But then the argument could be said about Spurs, for example, what they're doing. But they've got a left-sided centre-back, and they brought one in who was quick as well, who ticks the boxes for them. And he went injured, and they had a lapse of form.
We spent 400 million since Ten Hag came in. Like, you can still do the rotations because it's what everyone is training every day. They're doing 3 times 3 plus 2. They're working on the different things. You might have a better quality to it when you've got your first team out, but nothing is predicting or or saying that you can't do it. Like, I think this is a cop-out excuse.
I'm not making excuses. It's a fact. It's a fact that
I don't think it is a fact.
Well, the fact is that we've had 36 games this year and 34 different lineups.
That's not what I'm disputing.
No. And the fact is, well, I'm talking about the personnel, about consistency. If you want to perform things like this, you have to do it over and over again. That's how you get consistent with things. That's why Man City are so good.
That's why you have training.
Yeah, I understand that, but you haven't got the personnel to do this. Then it's not going to work. We said earlier that we can't imagine a centre-back playing that pass, for example, because we don't have the personnel. So I think Martinez is a big loss. I think it's more of a fact than maybe we think of here. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's an issue for us. Martinez got a bit more poise, control when he's got the ball. He looks up, he plays those passes. He's got respect. People don't rush him because they know he's good on the ball. He's got good composure and he's calm, and he can play them balls in, and then we can start playing. And it's very difficult at the moment with what we've got and how we've been depleted with the players that we've had out injured as well. But it's not an excuse; it's a reason, I believe.
Okay, all right. Well, now we're going to look at clips and animations to answer the question: does Ten Hag have a style of play? So, Stefan, what we're going to be looking out for, and what I'm going to be asking you, is, do we see rotations? What type of rotations are they? Spatial, zonal, positional? Do we see men between the lines? And do we see zones overloaded? Like all the things that we've been building up towards. And obviously, OMONDI, I'm going to just get Andrew in. He's surfed in on his big brain to say pattern should not be disrupted to this level. I agree, but it's a game of opinions, and OMONDI has played the game at a pretty decent level, as he's told us a few times. So, like, we can't take away from what he's saying. So we're going to present. So we've got our court case now, and I'm going to present you the evidence. So, OMONDI, this is us building up without Martinez. Would you like to talk us through it, please? Have you got?
Sorry, where are we? Where's the ball?
with
Oh yeah,
Forsen
okay.
here.
Oh, was this the game the other day?
Yeah, this is the first
Okay.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay, first minute. All right, let's go. Let's
Right.
go.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go. Forsen's out wide. He plays it back to Varane. Fulham are pushing up. Maguire gets the ball. He has to turn out. Plays it home to Lindelof at left back, who plays it to keeper. Who plays it back to Lindelof. And he tries to bring the ball forward to Maguire, who's on the left wing back position. Plays it down the left. And he gets it back to the middle man, which is Casemiro, who switches to play to Kobe, who takes it back home again.
It's a poor touch from Kobe. We then conceded a corner. Yeah. Come on, Monday. Talk to me.
All right, so I think there, when the ball is played to Maguire, sort of a left-footed centre-back, it's kind of pressure situation, playing the ball across like that. Casemiro here, plays it to Kobe. It's the right pass. Starting again, Varane gets the ball. Under a bit of pressure here. They can't play between the lines. It's dangerous. They would be pinched. So Maguire plays at home, gives it to the calm goalkeeper, who plays a bad pass there, I believe, back to Lindelof. I don't think he should have played it back there. Goes to Maguire, who's out in a wide position, like you were mentioning the other day, and he's gone trying to get back into shape now. Casemiro to Kobe. So, yeah, that's enough.
I think that this is quite impressive, to be honest. Right, Stefan, what did you spot in this for us?
Yeah, I spotted a couple of things. I think the most notable one.
Just tell me when to pause.
Yeah, of course. I think if you pause right now, Batham, I think you'll see Dallo in the right-hand side of the pivot in there as well. I think that's your first rotation you're looking at. He started further ahead, so he sort of dropped back in. Forsen has gone further wide now as well. And then I think Dallo keeps going backwards and eventually ends up in the central centre-back position. Harry Maguire ends up on the left-hand side. You'll see the rotation with Lindelof here now as well. When the ball goes to Onana, Maguire makes his way across there to be a passing option there for Lindelof here, and then I think it goes back to Maguire, and then again Dallo is now popped up in left centre back position. So Dallo's kind of moving all over the pitch as well, if you actually watch it. So he starts off, I think this is within about 20 seconds. So he starts off in the right number 8 position, and he ends up in the left centre back position by the end of it. So it is a lot of rotations if you watch it in that sense. As well, you can see a lot of movement from the forward line as well. I think.
All right, let's go through it. Okay, so we've got a nominal 3-2 build up here. We're gonna recycle the ball out here. Okay, so we've got Bruno and Kobe behind and in between, and we've kind of got Casemiro behind and in between. We can play bounce pass off to Lindelof there. Pereira's cutting out Dalot. So this side of the pitch, we're looking to get more people on because we don't have access out to these areas at the moment. We'd have to go home for that. So Maguire does go home. Maguire is supported by Lindelof, and Stefan is right. We're going to see Dalot try and get there, and this bizarre movement that we see from Maguire. Maguire's going to go out there with the aim of dragging Pereira so that we've got a pass in between the lines to Casemiro, and that will take out 4 players if we can play that pass. We're not able to do that, but Wing Wizard Harry carries on anyway. Lindelof gets it back. We've got Forsen out wide here with. We would like a passing network out to Forsen, but Muniz has cut. Iwobi and Muniz have done really, really well here, and the pass really should be to Casemiro, but we play it to Maguire, and then look, this is really, really cool, because Bruno is doing 3v2. He's doing the training drill where he's come in to support, and that's a third man combination with Lindelof, Bruno, and Casemiro. And you can see that Rashford has dropped here, and Garnacho is trying to get into that space, and so is Forsan. So if the quality of the pass is better here, Casemiro's got an opportunity to try and hit this space, and we can see how Garnacho gets on against this guy with an unpronounceable name. But he takes a poor touch, and then he hits a bit of a hospital ball, but Kobe takes it really badly. And if Kobe gets this right, we've got we've kind of like here we've kind of got men in between the lines and so on. But this is really promising build-up play, because like look at this out here. We've got a 4 versus 1 in this quadrant here. We're gonna get the ball out. We do it a bit weirdly, but in terms of build-up, this is actually really good from United. And it's in the first minute, and I was hoping it would set the tone. So I'll just play it one more. I'll play it one more time, Omondi, and you can tell me about anything you've seen here that you like or you don't like.
It's a lot to see, but like what you just illustrated there is about having players in between the lines. If the pass would be right, if you go back a bit, sorry, if you can take it back to when it goes to the goalkeeper.
Pass?
When it goes to the goalkeeper,
yeah, it'll go here.
If you stop it there, stop. Right now, I think the goalkeeper, what he does, he makes the wrong option for me. In Lindelof passes him, just pass it straight back to him. Even though he's going to be, like you said, the best defender is the touchline or whatever. I thought there was space there to open up, play it into the middleman or play it to Varane, who could play it to Forsen and switch the play. But fair enough, they got it there, and they played a nice little interchange of passes there. And if this, like I said, from there, stop. So from there now, as you said, Rashford and Forsen are in between the lines. And we've got Garnacho's maybe going to spin off, or Bruno spin off there. And so the intention is good, but just the actual action in the end wasn't so good.
Okay. Right. Do you want to see it?
Yeah. I haven't seen the game, so this has helped me out a lot.
So that is basically what we just saw. You see Muniz, I probably haven't animated it correctly, but Muniz is far closer to the keeper. So he doesn't have the ball out to Casemiro, Delo, or Varane. He's got to play it to Lindelof. And this is probably part of Fulham's plan. But this crazy movement from Maguire has taken Wilson out to this area here that's given a bit of time. And you can tell that this is sped up. This is Harry Maguire at 1.5 speed. It's nice, isn't it? You can see Garnacho coming deep. It's a poor touch from Casemiro, and then
Casemiro should have played a one-touch pass there. When he's received, he's already scanned, so he could have played a one-touch pass back into the forward. Like when it comes to him, Casemiro, now he's already scanned, bam, into feet, because Garnacho said, "Come, let me take that."
Yeah, I mean this would be better if Kobe isn't quite blindside enough here for a third man combination. Like Lukic, the 28, can see him. Like if Kobe's a little bit wider here, then maybe that's on where Garnacho can pop it, because the next ball to Garnacho, he can't turn. He's either got to hit Bruno, who's got a man in front of him, or he's got to hit like Kobe. And those are difficult first-time touches. So I think you lose a bit of momentum if you hit Garnacho here. But that's just my opinion. So that's the first thing. So Stefan, did we see patterns of play there?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely seen the rotations. It's like we were saying earlier. They are present. In that occasion, it didn't quite manufacture itself into an opportunity to actually play out from the back. I think the more I was watching that as well, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but Ten Hag made a big thing last summer about wanting to be a top transition team, and you're kind of looking at that thinking the switch is always on to the right hand side quite often throughout that sequence. If we could have got the ball off there, you could be looking at hitting Forsen in quite a bit of space there. So maybe that's what he's kind of trying to achieve, but it's just not coming off.
Well, Forsen is out there basically to widen the back four. Like, I'm not necessarily sure that he's part of a rotation or a move that is going to get him involved in play. His job is to pull men out of their zones and create larger spaces. That's why we want to stretch the pitch with width on both sides.
Did he do a good job, Forsen? How did he play?
I will show you some stuff later. I thought he was fine.
Did he play down the middle, like a direct replacement for Haaland? Or did he play
No, mostly on the right.
No, he started at right wing.
Oh, so who played down the middle?
Rashford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to just have a quick look at some comments. He changes sacrifice cover for a better press. Yeah, he has one extra in the counter press. I hate it. You can still play attacking football with a defensive shape. Yeah, I mean, this is what we've been preaching for like a year and a half, OMONDI. Not listening. How about either unable to execute and not? I don't understand that. Sorry. Okay, DK Wilson is having a fight with the brain box. All right, I've got something else to show you now, OMONDI. This is the 3rd minute, and this is more build-out stuff. So Maguire's on the ball. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, let's go. So it's against Fulham again. Maguire's carried the ball forward. He's played it into Casemiro. He's got time and space, but comes home again to Maguire. Plays between the lines. Kobe plays it to Bruno, back to goal. And they're playing the way they're facing, one-touch football. And Bruno turns into a winger. A lot of rotations here going on, very fast-paced. I can't even keep up as a commentator. And we're popping it around and moving the ball around really well. Varane's now out wide. Dalot picks up the ball in the centre of midfield, plays it between the lines, bit behind for Kobe. We're rotating the ball lovely here, creating lovely angles for the pass. There's always an option on. Look at that give and go. This is lovely football. Are you sure it's not Brazil 1970? Wow. I really thought that was. I can't believe that's Man United against Fulham. The manager said in the press conference that we played really well, showed some character, and had some good chances. But I hadn't seen them in little 3-minute highlights. But this looks like a lot of great. Everything we talked about: rotations, moving the ball about. We've got people in different positions. Bruno's doing a lot of work, intelligent work. We're keeping the ball in good areas. Kobe's receiving the ball in between the lines there. A lot of space. We've sort of rotating. Our movements is breaking their block a lot of the time. So, yeah, I don't know what you think, Stefan, but I think that's really nice.
Yeah. Stefan, talk to me what you're seeing here, positional, zonal rotations.
Yeah, look, you're seeing plenty of rotations. There is one bit that's kind of sticking out to me. It's maybe in a couple of seconds of time when Dalot plays it right to Varane. And I think Varane maybe could have had a different option. I'm not too sure if Forsen maybe could have made the inside to out run maybe here, or the ball could go forward towards Forsen. I think that might have been the option there into the channel. I'm just looking at the space. I think that ball is on. I'm not sure if Varane received it on his left or on his right, but if he's got it on his right there and the ball's run across his body, could he play it into that position?
He could, but that's a terrible pass. Like,
I suppose
all the men around him.
I know, but I'm thinking of Forsen makes a run, but it's a very nice bit of movement. Like, it's one of those that maybe you don't pick up upon your first view, and you maybe have to go back and watch it again. But the rotations are there, and we did pop the ball around nicely here.
Look at this, right? That is two versus 3, and then here we've got another one. So we've got this is superiority in a zone. What you're saying here is that you want, where is it? Like, okay, so that's the pass that you don't like. But you want Varane to somehow get the ball here to Forsen when at best that's a 4 versus 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's never the pass to play. Like, Varane does exactly the right thing here by going home. And you can see that now,
going home,
we've got 2 men in between the lines, and we've got 4 around them. And we've still got the space in the channel. So Varane's done well here.
No, I can see that. It's just maybe one of those at a freeze frame. It kind of looks like, can you do that? But yeah, I can see how it's led to the increased opportunity. I'm just wondering, how did this move end again? Was it just Dallo with a, or?
I will show you how the move ends.
Because it did look very well worked there from Dallo. It's just got base obviously to hit in there.
See little Garnacho at the end.
Yeah,
do you see the overload
at the far,
that's
yeah,
at the far side?
Yeah, I see. He's so much room.
But I personally think that this is some of the best play I've seen from United, because it's combining in short areas. The spaces are fine, right? And we're moving the block here all over the place. Like Kobe, is this Kobe Minu 42? I think that's Forson actually. He's got on the blind side of Pereira. We've got all that space to hit. This is really good stuff. And I'll just go back to the animation because I don't want to be copyright. I don't want to be copyright stuff. But I think it's good to have these things, like, because Big T, who's not here tonight, is always complaining about he doesn't know if these are real or not. But when we first start it off, we've got that movement from Rashford, and we've got Forson going in, and the other thing is we've got Casemiro and Kobe in the pivot now. Before, and Stefan, it was Delo and Casemiro in the pivot previously, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So that is a rotation, and Iwobi, he's got 2 players he's got to look out for, and Forson's got in between the lines, and he's behind and between. So Maguire does a good job here, and so does Casemiro. This is a risky pass, but you've got to play. And then with that pass, we've taken them out. But what we're ideally looking for is to get something like that going, so that we can take that 4 out there, right? That would be positional superiority, because we've got Garnacho and Bruno in the same zone. And this I'm not so sure about Forson and Delo. I think that Delo should be tucking in here myself to give us a better structure. But he goes wide, and then look, because we've got a player in between the lines, Wilson is out. So in this zone here, it's a 2v2, and this guy is too far from Bruno to affect him. So this is really good play. Bruno runs the channel, gets there, and for once, Bruno doesn't do anything bloody stupid. He waits for Garnacho to give him a bit of space. Lindelof has supported him. And then Lindelof plays in a pretty dangerous ball. But Wilson isn't a great defender. We've got it out again. We've got Kobe in between the lines in a half space. We've got Forson in between the lines in a half space. And even Delo can make that run there if we're feeling brave. I wouldn't do that myself, but it's an option. And then all we do is we work it. We work the space. This is where Stefan thinks the ball should be played in. I disagree, but look, we can take out all of that block if we can get the ball through there. And ideally, we'd want Lindelof here for safety on transition. But this is all relatively good.
People say you can overdo it sometimes, but I think as long as you've got the ball and you're comfortable keeping possession in the opposition half, just wait and wait and wait until it does open up, because eventually you will stretch teams and someone will switch off in the defending team, will switch off and create that space to play that pass. So I do think I'd rather see Man United being a bit more patient with it rather than try to play that Hollywood ball all the time, or say about overdoing it. Keep the ball. Just keep the ball. If nothing's on, or I go by percentages sometimes. So if the ball's on, play it. If it's simple, play it. But if you're going to be like the guy playing the crucial killer pass, and it's a 50-50 or even less odds than that, I don't think you should play it unless you're, in the final third and you've got cover insurance. Because the worst thing you can do in a situation like that is give the ball away. So I like that phase of play. I wasn't aware that we played that. Obviously, I didn't see the game. So I'm looking at that. If you didn't tell me the scoreline, I said, oh, we've been playing well. That's good. We've seen a pattern of play now. But obviously, the result in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically touching on exactly what the problem was in the first and second half, is that these are the only sort of United highlights. The majority of it was poor touches, stupid balls into men who had too many people around them. And then not taking care, and like Garnacho and Lindelof did not work well together. They were both getting in each other's way. Garnacho's running down blind alleys. We couldn't really involve Forsen too much in the game. But I do have another thing to show you, which does involve Forsen, and it was the thing that excited me the most in the game. At the moment, the comments literally just Andrew and DK Wilson fighting. So make sure to like the stream, boys, in between all that squabbling. You are welcome to do whatever you want as long as you're civil to each other, please. So I'm now going to show another clip for you to go through Monday. Once again, this is build up. Maguire's on the ball. This is in the 12th minute. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's go. We've got three at the back here. Maguire plays it into Kobe, receives the ball, looks up, pops it back home to Maguire, who plays it in to Bruno between the lines there. Bruno plays with his back to goal, plays where he's facing, squares it to Varane, takes it wide to Forsen, plays it inside to Dalot's in that midfield position again. He plays a Casemiro 1-2 and give and go. Again, he's inside now. He's playing well, Forsen, pops the ball. Okay, so he started wide, plays little 1-2s and gets himself in the centre midfield position and plays in between the lines, Forsen. It's all about Forsen, he's saying, I reckon.
I just really like this combination play from him.
So he picks up there wide, into feet, give and go, plays it against Casemiro and goes and creates a lot of space for himself, and then plays it to Rashford, and he gets a lot of joy. They love it. They keep passing it back to him, which is good. I don't know what sort of player he is. I haven't seen enough of him, but seeing that suggests to me that he's quite intelligent.
Well, Stefan, I'm sure you've noticed, but who's in the pivot now?
Of course, it's Dalot in there again, man, and then was it Kobe as well?
Yeah,
it's that positional rotation you've been banging on about earlier on the show. Like, it's just moving the players. But I think one thing I do really like about this is how Forsen moves to the space right here. Goes really wide, keeps Robinson wide, and that opens up a lot of space. And then he drops to offer up the option to Varane because Dalot was gone on the inside again. And then it's just a nice give and go. And it's just a shame the final pass didn't come off to Rashford because it was a very nice move.
Yeah.
Final ball to Garnacho,
yeah.
sorry. Garnacho,
yeah,
sorry.
It could have been. I mean, he executes the ball poorly after doing really good work. So once again, when we're looking at our setup, we've got these three players like pinning these four here. Okay. We've got someone out wide. We don't really have anyone between the lines except Dalot can probably make this move here and swap with Casemiro. But we've got opportunities here. Kobe has a little explore, but there's nothing on. He pops it out, and now we're beginning to see, now we've got two players between the lines. We've got Garnacho and Forsen with width, and we've had Rashford drop. So we've opened up a lot of space here that we can think about trying to access. And how do we access that space? We've got a really good third man combination here, but Bruno takes a poor touch, can't get it to Lindelof because then Lindelof can line it to Garnacho. But so we recycle, which is something that we should do more often. Dalot, he's been playing 3-3, so he's dropped in, like he's made a lung burster again to get round, to give Maguire an angle, and also he might just draw Muniz a little bit with that run. Out here, Forsen has dropped, so if Robinson goes with him, he might not be the fastest, but you still don't want Casemiro running into all that space by himself.
Yeah.
Even if it's Varane on the ball. Dalot supports. So we've seen Dalot make this run here to support Maguire, and then we've seen him make this run here to support Forsen. This is exactly what you want from your teammates. It's dropped in. He drops it out. Casemiro, they're making that rotation there, right? Which is a good one. And then Forsen uses he basically sort of dummies Reed, gets it through. Casemiro plays a ball through. Rashford drops, and what we would want to see is Bruno making that run there, like that. Spatial rotation would be great. But for once, we're actually all right in our sort of defensive structure. One thing you would say though is that the space between Rashford and Maguire, we would like that much more compact. Because look, we're able to play through the block. This is the first time I've seen it for ages. Is like little combinations, and then we're just let down with. I'm not going to say let down. Forsen just doesn't execute what he wants to do. But once again, this is all pretty promising. Players moving, supporting each other. Like you can see Kobe coming in, offering angles. Like really, really good stuff. Like Omondi, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it is good stuff, and we want to see more of this, most certainly. But I think I was just looking at Dalot. In all these clips, seems to be playing a key role, and I wonder with Wan-Bissaka, I can't imagine him doing. So it just shows you about personnel. Once again, Dalot's a very good player. Someone mentioned the other week on the show that he's candidate for Player of the Year this season. He's just been utter professional, really good player. He's good in tight areas, as you can see, because like Stefan was saying, he can drop into the midfield and pick up the ball quite comfortably. As I was saying earlier about the drills and being able to play the rotations, can he pick up the ball? He can. Yes, he can do it. Do we have a left back who can also do a similar thing? Can Shaw do that? Not so sure.
I don't think so.
Sure. So Dalot's crucial in all of this. He's the one with the intelligence as well. The managers must be pet at the moment, really, because he's doing everything that maybe you would want from a player. He's able to do, if you want to bring a new system in, he's someone who's able to adapt to it. So the manager's probably got people in mind that he can trust to do the job, what he wants to perform. Because as a manager, it must be really frustrating if you've got an idea, but you're not able to transfer it to the pitch for people to see. So there's accusations now. He's got no idea, he doesn't got a clue what he's doing. And he must be really frustrated if you think, right, I know more than half of these fans who are talking SHIT about me, but I'm not able to deliver it on the pitch. So what do? Do I get personnel in, players in? Do I wait for the structure to change and get the job? I'm out of a job.
Well, you get results, Omondi.
Sorry?
You get results.
Yeah, you get results by. Do you stick with your philosophy? Do you stick with the way you're playing? Or do you think, all right, I've got lesser players who can't really do what I want them to do. Do I change it slightly?
Yeah, you manage what you have.
Yeah. I think that's where I think Ten Hag at the moment is a bit stuck. He wants to have his identity, way to play. But at the moment, while things are a bit sticky, if he hasn't got the players to perform the way he wants to due to injuries and other reasons, I think maybe he should sort of adapt a little bit and go a bit more defensive, a bit more solid. We've had so many shots because I think there's something like 300, and I don't know what stat is, but we're up there at the top of the league with shots.
Stefan?
I can't remember the exact number, but I know that we concede a shot every 5 minutes.
That's where the manager needs to say, all right, for now, let me just cut back and just make sure we're secure, and then maybe we can get results throughout the 90 minutes.
All right. Well, we've actually had some comments in the chat that are not Andrew and DK Wilson fighting each other.
Stop it, you two.
Andrew is saying, Darius will use fancy graphics to tell us Forsen was good. I'm not just going to use fancy graphics, Andrew. I'm going to show you.
Oh, that's poor.
It's a poor ball, but yeah. I really, really like this like inside movements from him. It's a poor touch.
Got to play square there to Lindelof. He's tried the percentage ball is to Lindelof, square of him. Bam, Lindelof in.
Like out towards the DHL sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
do you think Bruno also wants to make that run as well, Bath time? Because I'm looking at it, I know it's the point that you had raised on the initial animation that he could have made that run.
Yes, I think that right. So what we would ideally be looking for here is if Bruno makes that run in between that massive gap between in the channel, he takes Wilson, I think it is, with him, and that gives the corridor to Forson to hit it out to Lindelof, and then because Bruno is ahead of his man there, I think their right back is that Robinson or Castagne.
Castagne, I think.
Castagne. Yeah. Castagne probably has to go towards Bruno. And that means that if we play quick, we've got Garnacho in acres of space with Rashford having a run on Bassi and Robinson at the back post.
Also, just to add, I think like we were talking earlier about rotations. So Forson is a striker, a wide man, whatever. He's in the position there where he's playing in a number 10 role now, and he can't get out his feet as a professional player to, simple thing would make it so easy. Get out your feet, body positioning, and play. The ideal pass would be into Bruno or to Garnacho if you're good enough. But because he's not, and the first touch has been poor, he's got to play that square to Lindelof, and then Lindelof can recycle it out wide.
Yeah.
But I just felt whatever his first touch was here. Come on, you're a pro player, man.
I know, but what I want to point out here is that we don't get this from Garnacho out on the right. I'm not faulting Garnacho. He's been good this season. He's a young player. He's going to make mistakes. But we haven't had this sort of combination play from a right winger like at United for a very long time.
Sancho. Not
like that.
Sancho does this.
No, he doesn't. Not on the right wing. He never did anything like that. Like that sort of like this OMONDI is great. Like that is what we were expecting from Anthony.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, look at this. This is such a terrible touch. Oh. And maybe we might see that from Ahmad. But I agree with you. A better touch there, and it's good. And then that's just a terrible ball. Like, so if people saying Forson is rubbish, like Andrew, or like, doubting their quality or whatever, I can understand why. But I find that combination play extremely exciting because similar to when I talked about what was the most dangerous run, like Forson is going past so many men who's meant to be picking him up here. Like he's moving into different zones every time. That's an absolute nightmare for a midfield to deal with. That quick combination play, it absolutely gets you. Yes, sorry, Andrew. I'm paraphrasing, and we also had something from Dora OMONDI. Let me remove this. Can we conclude that the players aren't as dumb as everyone accused them? I'm first to criticise them, have been for years. But people forget that these are professionals. So, Stefan, are we being unfair on the players? Are they actually a little bit better than we thought?
I mean, yeah, like these guys are Premier League footballers. They are the best of the best, regardless of how we actually might see them on the pitch. We couldn't get close to them if we tried. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just. It is a frustration as well because we know that they can do better than what we see most weeks. I think that's one of the frustrating things. It might be easier to accept if these players flat out aren't good enough, but it's the fact that we've seen them be good enough in the past as well, and they're just underperforming to such a level. I think it's just frustrating.
All right. Well, I have more stuff, but I'm not going to show it because we're coming up to like movie length this evening. What I will do is I'll just quickly show you the clips so that OMONDI can watch the highlights. So this is the first one. Nice, isn't it? Like watch Bruno's movement. I really like this from Bruno. Beautiful. Then there's this one. which is Harry Maguire in the half space. Look at him go, Omondi. Like, so this is Maguire. And then the last one that's a lovely pass from Maguire.
That got to be Casemiro playing that ball.
Yeah, it's Casemiro and two players run into each other. Like,
yeah.
But I'm going to ask you 2 questions. First question is, I'm going to go back to this. Has anyone changed their mind on the most dangerous run?
I think, look, what I would say from what I've learned from today is that you got to shift players around. And if you make both these runs, will shift the defense around. We saw that movement where Sancho scored a goal, and there was a lot of passing in front of the defense, and there wasn't lots of movement, but not so much vertical movement. I didn't see so much vertical runs. This illustration here is about a vertical run, whether going wide or whether going straight through that channel between the centre back and the full back. I think both of them can be effective in their own way. Whether one's more effective than the other, that's up for argument. But we as defenders, me and Stefan have said maybe you want to break the unit by going into the channel. But from what we've seen for the illustrations and the animations you've shown, I can understand where you're coming from. Why you're saying if you break 3 zones by running out wide, how it can disrupt the defense as well. So they're both effective. But what I take from, I'm not saying one's better than the other. What I take from tonight's show is that the rotations and movement of players, especially when you got the ball in the opposition half, is how you create space and open things up. And first of all, you have to get in between the lines. And this takes intelligent running and running off the ball, which goes back to that drill you put up initially, where you have to make little runs off the ball to receive passes. And that's in a small sided game. But when you expand it to 11-side game, it should become easier to say there's so much space here. It should be easy. Like when a snooker player plays pool. Suddenly, it's like, this is a piece of PIS, PISS. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's that sort of thing. So I think I can't, I'll say you're right, probably because you've explained it better than me about why it's better to go out wide. But I also think there's merits for playing that run going down the middle as well.
Yeah, like, no, you both have to defend them. They're both annoying. Right, Stefan.
Yes.
I asked this question. Do we see rotations in Ten Hag's play?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see Harry Maguire nearly hitting the byline, so we see rotations. we see the movements. They are there. Like that's not disputed at all whatsoever. I don't think anybody could watch this and truthfully say that there's no rotations or no patterns in that sense.
So I think we've answered the question that Ten Hag has patterns of play, and they're fairly consistent. After the City match, we might get on to why we're so rubbish, because we've got one part of it right, which is rotations, moving the ball, playing the correct pass, and stuff like this. But we're having a dreadful season, so it's probably back to defensive structure when we next do this on Monday.
Yeah, most certainly. And also, Eriksen's been out. Eriksen played a lot last season up until the Reading game, I think it was.
Right. He was dreadful when he came on. Dreadful.
Okay. Well, he's back consistency again. He hasn't played much. He's just coming back in, jump off the bench. Last season, when we were playing, even in that clip he played against Sheriff, he was present in there. Wasn't it Eriksen and Casemiro a lot of the time playing in midfield last season?
Yeah.
Was it like that? So Eriksen's a very intelligent player, and he can receive the ball in those tight areas and make things happen. And where things are breaking down with the illustrations we showed tonight, I think he's sort of guy who can pick up the right pass and at the right time. So there's a lot of question marks, isn't there, right now? And with Nottingham Forest coming up in the cup, and then City on the weekend, we've got to answer those questions positively with the players that we have remaining. So it's going to be really interesting this next 6 days.
All right. Well, we're going to call it here. It's been a late one. I probably did a bit too much for this one. to be honest. I'd like to thank everyone that was watching. Like Andy Long has turned up in chat. Andrew has had his fun with DK Wilson. Both very pleased to see you. Dora's been in. We had Jeff in earlier. We had Solo at the start. Matty Bassett. We had Steph popping in. Really pleased that all of you came and watched that. I know that these shows are long. I've been told that they're very soporific by some people, but I think that they're really good. And none of this comes off like, tactico YouTube nonsense. This is all from playing and training football. And I'd like to give a special thanks to our guest, Stefan.
Big up,
Thank you so much for joining us for almost 2 hours. How did you find it?
Anytime. Yeah, I really enjoyed that and definitely learned a lot as well. So that's always a plus as well, coming away smarter and more knowledgeable.
Can I just say, it does sort of, in a way, change the narrative. Because I'm hearing from everyone we played poorly, but the narrative is that we haven't got a style of play, and maybe there is, when you really break it down. And the narrative also has been that Ten Hag should get sacked. But I don't know how you feel after that, Stefan, and bath time. Do you think Ten Hag should get sacked today? Like some players, some fans are saying after the game performance, was the performance that bad? Is it down to the manager? Should he be criticised for having injuries and all this kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes to everything. I'd sack him in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, I know we didn't really talk too much about spacing issues on tonight's show, but that's constant, and that's been a constant all year.
Yeah,
it's just we always give the space away, and we just concede too many chances. I think if we saw more steps towards solving that issue, we might be in a different position. But it does kind of feel like it's been just left to the side.
Yeah, it's been too long. I mean, like, the spacing issues, I know it's a hot topic because it's been on Monday Night Football and stuff, but we've talked about compactness till the cows have come home. And I don't want to do another show about rest defenses and how you defend transitions and things. Like, I've done it for weeks in end, so I thought I'd show more attacking stuff from a game where it was a Harry Maguire volley that got us our goal off a deflected shot. But anyway, thanks to everyone who has been here. Please remember to like the stream. Actually, you don't have to like it. What you can do is go and roast any other YouTubers that are talking nonsense using what you've learned here. Like, it's a lot of fun.
Anyway. Big up bath time. Thanks again for great illustrations and really sort of making it very simple. Even my dogs could talk football with me now, sitting here watching this skate, the eye test. Honestly, it makes it a lot, it is, because when I was playing and when we were being coached a lot of the time, we're saying, yeah. But really, we don't understand. This guy would be going on the board, and it's a bit embarrassing in front of everyone, say, everyone say, you got that? And you're like, yeah. But really, I've been in a situation like that where I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, when they're going through tactics or reason, or we're doing a drill, but there's not much explanation about why we're doing a drill and what's, what do we have to think. So the way you explain things, so I think you'd be a great coach, bath time. You explain things to footballers so they get the reason why, when you're supposed to do it, and how effective it's going to be, and in detail. And I think that needs to be explained by coaches a lot more, rather than just thinking I know it, like Glenn Hoddle. I know, you should know this as well. What I'm doing, you should be able to do everything I do. It's not always the case like that. But big up everyone in the comments. Thanks everyone for tuning in, especially thanks to Stefan as well. Hopefully you'll be a regular every Monday night with the eye test. I think it's really good having you on, and you talk so well on football, bro. Honestly.
Much appreciated. Thanks very much for having me, guys.
Go and subscribe to Stefan. Are you on at 7:00 streams?
Mostly 7:00. Yeah. I'm a little bit bad at the moment with jumping a little bit early if I have something on, but I will post if I'm on early. But mostly 7:00, so pretty early.
And that's your Twitter underneath your thing as well at United Stefan.
Yeah, I'm not the most active on Twitter, but I like the odd thing or retweet it. So if you do want to follow me there or DM me about anything, just go ahead.
No, please don't DM me about anything. That's Andrew. I don't want any more DMs about, do I still think that we're going to finish third again? Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. Good night.